Hey. Thanks, Tracy. So I'm just getting a bit of an echo. I think we're okay now. So thank you for joining me today. I'll be talking about the SSHRC Partnership Engage Grants and the Research Partnership Program from SSHRC in general. My name is Julia Herr. I am the Research Officer in the Office of Research Services, which falls under the Vice President, Research and Graduate Studies. And my role in the research office is to facilitate and administer the external grant applications, so any tri-agency grants or other external grants, faculty research prizes and awards, student research scholarships and awards, and to assist with research partnerships. I'll be beginning with a land acknowledgement. So Brandon University has campuses on both Treaty 1 and Treaty 2 territories. Our main campus is located in Brandon, Manitoba on Treaty 2 territory. This is traditional land shared between the Dakota and Ojibwe. The Turtle Mountains in Brandon area were also home to the Métis people. Settlements along the Assiniboine River and into the northeastern areas of Saskatchewan created a chain of Métis communities. We at Brandon University acknowledge and respect the history, land, and the people of this area, the Dakota, Anishinaabe, Oji-Cree, Cree, Dene, and Métis people. So today, this is just a brief overview of what I'll be touching on. So I'll start by discussing the SSHRC Research Partnership Program. Then I'll go into a little bit more detail about the Partnership Engage grants specifically, which will include how to apply, so what the various application modules and requirements are, what your partner needs to know and contribute, and touching just very briefly on the SSHRC online portal and CV system. I'll end with a few tips and then a link, a page of links for various resources. So the Social Sciences and Humanity Research Council Research Partnership Program goal is to realize social sciences and humanities research potential for influence, benefit, and impact within and beyond post-secondary institutions by supporting research and related activities and tools that facilitate co-creating and exchanging research knowledge. The main objectives that SSHRC's outlined for the Research Partnership Program are to strengthen knowledge and understanding by leveraging perspectives from across multiple disciplines and sectors, to support collaborations among post-secondary institutions, as well as between post-secondary institutions and organizations from public, private, not-for-profit sectors, and to co-create knowledge and increase use of research outputs. They also are aiming to mobilize research knowledge within academia and other sectors, leading to intellectual, cultural, and social and economic outputs and outcomes, increase the accessibility and use of research knowledge within and beyond the post-secondary sector, and support high-quality training experience for students and other high-quality personnel. The focus of the partnership grants that SSHRC offers are on formal partnerships. So the difference between a research team and a formal partnership is that a research team can be a collaboration between individuals at various post-secondary institutions or other organizations, but a formal partnership is typically a bilateral or multilateral formal collaboration agreement between an applicant, typically from a post-secondary institution, and one or more partner organization. So the parties involved all agree to commit and work collaboratively to achieve shared goals for mutual benefit. And the formal partnership is grounded in trust and mutual respect, with partner organizations contributing in a meaningful way to the success of the endeavor. For many of these SSHRC partnerships, at least one partner or the primary applicant must be a post-secondary Canadian institution, and the other partner has to be different from the institution or organization that will administer the grant funds. SHRC outlines a few different partnership approaches. The ones I've bolded here are the two that the Partnership Engage grant focuses on, but they also acknowledge that there are many approaches to a partnership. So disciplinary and interdisciplinary research partnerships are interinstitutional research initiatives designed specifically to contribute to advancing knowledge and understanding within the social sciences and or humanities. A note on interdisciplinary projects, which are welcomed by SSHRC, but while they can involve natural sciences, engineering, and or health partner organizations, the partnerships proposed must still follow SSHRC's subject matter eligibility guidelines. Cross-sector co-creation of knowledge and understanding. These partnerships that use ongoing collaboration and mutual learning to foster innovative research, training, and the co-creation of new knowledge on critical issues of intellectual, social, economic, and cultural significance. Networks for research and or related activities involve networks that are designed to advance the innovative co-creation of knowledge as well as training and mobilization of research. And then partnered knowledge mobilization includes partnerships that are designed to synthesize, apply, and mobilize new and existing social sciences and humanities research knowledge in accessible ways to build institutional capacity and increase the national and international impacts and stature of Canadian research. Typically, along with a formal partnership, there is some evidence of a formal partnership, some sort of documentation. Many of the SSHRC partnership grants require that this is included. The SSHRC Partnership Engage grant does not require that this is included in the forms that you submit, but it's still a very important thing to consider and to work on with your partner. So these kinds of evidence can include governance frameworks, agreements, which can be intellectual property agreements, research agreements, conflict resolution agreements, and so on, and strategic plans, or any other kind of relevant documentation that outlines the expectations of the partnership and the roles of everyone involved. So the three major research opportunities, funding opportunities from SSHRC in the Research Partnership Program are the Partnership Engage grants, the Partnership Development grants, and the Partnership grants. So this is just to compare the three. And I will note at the start that these are not dependent on each other. So you don't need to first apply for an Engage grant to get a development grant, to get a partnership grant. You can engage with any of these levels of funding at any point. The Partnership Engage grants are the smallest grants, so they have a value of $7,000 to $25,000 over 1 year. So they're for short-term, small-scale research partnerships between an academic researcher and one non-academic partner organization. So you're looking at a single partner for the Partnership Engage grants. These grants are individual grants, which means that the grant holder is the applicant. The Partnership Development grants are slightly larger grants with a longer duration. So that's $75,000 to $200,000 over 1 to 3 years. These are also formal partnerships, and there is no limitation to the number of partner organizations involved. They can be new or existing partners, and are meant to support formal partnerships to develop and test new approaches to research and related activities with new or existing partners. These ones are also individual grants, so the grant is held by the applicant. The partnership grant are the largest grants, and they provide funds of between $500,000 to $2.5 million over 4 to 7 years. But these are also 2-stage grants. So the first stage includes a budget of up to $20,000, which is meant to be put towards developing the partnership. And then stage 2 is by invitation only. That's for the larger long-term partnership project. These ones are institutional grants. So that means that the institution, the host institution, is the one that holds the grant, and the applicant is the director for the project. So the partnership engage grants are the ones that I'll be focusing on today. They're a really great place to start if you haven't applied for a partnership grant before and you have a partner that you're interested in working on with. The partnership engage grants are short-term, timely support for partnered research activities that will inform decision-making at a single partner organization from the public, private, or not-for-profit sector. Like I mentioned in the previous slide, there's smaller scale, stakeholder-driven partnerships that respond to immediate needs and time constraints facing an organization and non-academic sector. And these ones have quarterly submission deadlines. So there are 4 opportunities per year to submit these grants, and that's so that they can respond more rapidly to immediate needs. Typically, it's June 15th, September 15th, December 15th, and March 15th are the SSHRC deadlines. This year, SSHRC has moved up the June deadline to May 22nd. So it's almost a full month earlier this year. This is for the 2024 to 25 cycle only, and next cycle, it'll be back to June 15th. Applicant eligibility. So applicants have to be affiliated with a Canadian post-secondary institution with institutional eligibility. So Brandon University has institutional eligibility for all tri-agency grants. And applications can be submitted by a single researcher or by a team of researchers. So a team would consist of a single applicant with 1 or more co-applicants and or collaborators. Postdoctoral researchers are eligible to apply to partnership engage grants if they've formally established an affiliation with an eligible institution at the time of application and maintain that affiliation for the length of the grant. I'll go into some more detail about the various application sections and what's required, but before I do that, I want to focus on the evaluation criteria, which is what you should be keeping in mind while you're writing your grant. So the SSHRC grants are reviewed on a merit review system, and these 3 criteria are what reviewers will be looking at. So the challenge is weighted at 60%. That's mostly what they'll be focusing on. The feasibility at 20%, and capability also at 20%. So while reviewers are reviewing with respect to the challenge, the aim and importance of the endeavor, they'll be looking at the relevance of the project to the needs, challenges, or opportunities facing the partner organization, the originality, significance, and expected contributions to knowledge to the partner organization, the appropriateness of the literature review, appropriateness of the methods and theoretical approach, quality of training and mentoring to be provided to students and other HQP, and the potential for the project results to have influence and impact within the partner organization and beyond. When assessing the feasibility, that's the plan to achieve excellence, reviewers will be looking at the probability that the objectives will be met within the timeline proposed, the involvement of the partner organization in the design and conduct of the research and related activities, the appropriateness of the requested budget and the justification, the indication of other planned resource sources. So for example, cash or in-kind contributions from the host institution or the partner organization, and the quality and appropriateness of the knowledge mobilization plans, including effective dissemination, exchange, and engagement with the partner organization and other stakeholders. Then finally, to assess the capability, the expertise to succeed, reviewers will be looking at the research team. So the quality, quantity, and significance of past experience and published or creative outputs of the applicant and any co-applicants, This would be relative to their role in the partnership and the stages of their career. Evidence of other knowledge mobilization activities and impacts on professional practice, social services, and policies, and evidence of past contributions to training and mentoring of students and other HQP. A quick note on equity, diversity, and inclusion. So in the tri-agency, many grant applications require that you include an EDI strategy. SSHRC is not yet explicitly requiring it, but it's still a very good idea to include it in your proposal and then the discussion of your plan. So this can be EDI considerations with respect to the research question and the literature view. What has the literature shown previously, or what gaps are there that need to be addressed? In the design of your study, so how are you taking EDI into consideration when you're designing your study? The methodology and data collection. So what type of data are you collecting? Demographic information or other kinds of information that would speak to EDI, and then how it would be analyzed and interpreted. And then finally, with the dissemination of results, how do you intend to disseminate your results in such a way that it will reach the most relevant communities and audiences with respect to EDI? For Indigenous research, SSHRC has tools that are specifically intended to support applicants working in Indigenous research, and in the case of partnership grants with Indigenous organizations. So there are specific reviewer assessment, merit reviewers assessing applications related to Indigenous research, and a variety of resources that SSHRC supplies to assist you in this way. And there are a few links here that can get you to a bit more information about Indigenous research with SSHRC. So when you are ready to apply, you will do so through the SSHRC online portal. And this portal, if you already have a account, make sure that you are signing in with an established account and not creating a second one. There is a place to reset your password if you forget it. If you don't have an account, it's a fairly easy process to register. The main page it'll take you to is called My Portfolio, and to find the Partnership Engage application form, you'll have a module that looks like this with a list of application forms with a drop-down menu. Clicking Create New Form will bring you to a page that will let you select from any of the currently available opportunities from SSHRC, including the Partnership Engage grants. Once you've created a form, it'll start showing up directly below this module. It'll look like this. And to edit and access the application, just click on the hyperlink title here. And when you are finished your application, you have to verify it and then submit it. And when you submit it, it comes to our office first. So I will get a notification that something has been submitted in the SSHRC portal, and I will have a chance to take a look and review for completeness and anything else that may be requiring updates. If I do catch something, I am able to return it to you for updates. If I don't and it looks fine, I will forward it to the VP Research and Graduate Studies for final approval, and that final submission to SSHRC is done on my end. In the online SSHRC portal, there's also a specific SSHRC CV that you have to complete. It appears right under the applications. It looks like this, curriculum vitae, and to edit it, you'll click your name. The first time you register, it should start to propagate with the information that you provide in your registration, and you'll just have to go through it and add a bunch of information. All of the applications that go through this particular portal use this CV, and it's a little finicky to work on and to update, but once it's updated, it will be the same CV that can apply to multiple applications. You can preview it to make sure everything looks okay, and then you will also have to verify it before SSHRC will allow you to submit any application. The SSHRC partnership Engage application itself, once you click into it, you will have all of these various modules. And I'm not going to go through each one, but I will touch on a few of them. And it may be difficult to see, but for the ones that have this little white arrow beside it, those are electronic attachments. So those are PDFs that you have to create and upload to SSHRC. And each section will show you specifically the requirements for that PDF, page limit, and so on. Things like activity details, a lot of them are just lists and drop-down menus to go through. It'll be things like your title, whether ethics is required, any other certification or land use, keywords, that sort of thing. And there are a few other modules I'll go through in more detail. While you're going through each of these modules, at the bottom and the top of each page, you have this menu bar. For every page that you complete, just click Save and then Verify Page to confirm that everything is complete. So let's start with the participants. So who all is involved in your application? So co-applicants are individuals that make a significant contribution to the intellectual direction of the research or research-related activities and are playing a significant role in the conduct of the research and activities. They may also have some responsibility for financial aspects. Co-applicants, if they're Canadian, must be affiliated with an eligible post-secondary institution, not-for-profit organization, philanthropic foundation, think tank, or municipal, territorial, or provincial government. International co-applicants must be affiliated with a post-secondary institution. Collaborators are individuals who make a significant contribution to the project, but they don't need to be affiliated with eligible Canadian post-secondary institutions. When you are inviting applicants, co-applicants, or collaborators to your application, there's a module where you will add their name and email address, and they'll receive an email inviting them to fill out their information that's required. This will either prompt them to create a SSHRC online portal account or to sign in if they already have one. Co-applicants that are affiliated with a post-secondary institution must submit a full SSHRC CV, and all co-applicants also have to submit a PDF attachment which describes their research contributions and relevant experience, which is something I'll go into a little bit more detail about at later slides. It's highly recommended that you get those invitations out as early as possible to give your co-applicants and collaborators enough time to complete the necessary modules and CVs. The partner organization, so for the partnership engage grants, that's a single partner organization. The invitations work in a similar manner. You will identify a representative of the partner organization and send an invitation to them by email. And their end of the application requires that they complete these three things. So the partner information module includes basic contact information and a few other minor details. The letter of engagement is fairly specific, and I'll describe it in more detail in the next slide. And then the module for contributions from partner organizations is where they will input the value of any cash and or in-kind contributions, and they can be listed as either confirmed or unconfirmed. So for the partnership engage grants, cash and in-kind contributions are not mandatory, but partner organizations are expected to support the activities of partnerships through those contributions. So it's a funny little way to say they're not mandatory, but they kind of are mandatory. Your application will be a lot stronger if you can include cash or in-kind contributions, and they should be treated the same way, cash or in-kind. So if your partner organization is providing any kind of support or time spent on this project, then they can include that there. It will just be estimated as a cash value for in-kind contributions. So the letter of engagement that the invited partner organization has to supply is fairly specific, and I encourage all applicants to work with their partner organization to put these letters together to either provide a primary draft that they can work with, or to provide the specific instructions that SSHRC provides. So there are 2 pages written on official letterhead, and the letter has to include the relevant significance of the project objectives for the partner organization, the exact nature of the involvement of the partner organization in the project, including the intellectual leadership and governance of the partner, the precise details on the financial and/or in-kind contributions that they will be provided, and the expected outcomes that the partner organization wishes to achieve. So like the collaborators and co-applicants, I encourage you to send out the invitations early. The partner organization and all your co-applicants should have read the proposal prior to accepting, but it's a good idea to get the invitations out there just to work through any technical issues that they might have with the portal, and to make sure that they know what they need to supply in terms of the letter of engagement. A few other modules that you'll have to complete. So the summary is a 1-page summary of your research proposal in clear, plain language. So this summary will be shared with the public if the project is funded, and it should include challenges or issues to be addressed, overall goal and objectives of the proposed partnership, and the breadth of the partnership and the meaningful engagement of the partner organization involved. The expected outcomes module includes a drop-down menu that will allow you to specify the scholarly benefits, social benefits, and target audiences for the expected outcomes. You'll also have a place to write a 1-page summary describing the potential long-term benefits and outcomes that could emerge from the proposed project as a result of knowledge mobilization activities. The goal/project description upload is essentially your main project proposal. So this is a 5-page attachment, and it's where you'll outline the background of the project, the anticipated plan for it, and a few other details. This is where I encourage you to frequently consult the evaluation criteria that I outlined at the beginning of the presentation, just to make sure that everything you are adding to your goal and project description is addressing the various things that will be evaluated. So you have to include the overall goal and specific objectives, relevance and significance for the partner organizations, the originality, significance, and expected contributions to knowledge in social sciences and/or humanities, the appropriateness of the theoretical and methodological approaches chosen to meet the objectives, which will be addressed in your literature review. And if it's applicable, you can also discuss how research data will be managed. You'll also need to address how you plan to increase knowledge uptake by target audiences, the anticipated outputs, outcomes, and impacts of social sciences and humanities knowledge among your audiences and participants. You have to describe the participation of the partner organization in the intellectual leadership and decision-making process of the partnership, and how their expertise is integrated. You should describe the roles, responsibilities, and contributions of all the applicants, co-applicants, collaborators involved, as well as specific roles and responsibilities of students and other HQP. And then finally, even though this is a bit of repetition, also outlining the confirmed or proposed contributions of your host institution, partner organization, or other sources of contributions. So now we're getting into funding. So there's 2 areas where you will be asked to provide funding requests or detailed contributions. So the funds that are requested from SSHRC specifically provide you with a funding by category online module form where you are adding amounts to a table essentially. And this is to be backed up by a budget justification document, which is a one-page PDF upload. In your budget justification, you should use the categories listed on the funds requested from SSHRC page and outline how you will use the funds to achieve your project objectives. So the various categories that they ask for are personnel costs, including student salaries and non-student salaries, travel and subsistence costs for team members and for students, other expenses such as professional or technical services and supplies, and non-disposable equipment like computer hardware, and any other expenses that don't fall into those categories can be added in the other expenses category. For your budget justification, you should show a clear connection between the objectives, methodology, knowledge mobilization plan, and student training to the budget items. Any items described in the budget must be outlined as part of the overall research plan. So it should be clear that what you're asking for is directly supported by your research plan. You should describe both how the cost is estimated and why the project requirements, and be as specific as you possibly can within the one-page limit. So for a few examples, for personnel, if you're hiring research assistants for students, what level of student will you need? Are these undergraduate students, graduate students? Describe what level of student is appropriate for the tasks that will be undertaken. How long will they be working? Will they be paid hourly or with a studentship? And for any research assistants, you can consult the PSAC rates and use the payroll estimator to calculate the anticipated RA salaries. For travel, you should describe why travel is necessary and the mode of transportation. And for supplies and equipment, you should describe why it is needed and how it will be used. A note on supplies and equipment, for non-disposable equipment like computer hardware, purchase or rental of computers and associated hardware is allowable by SSHRC only if they're not provided by the administering institution or by another employer. So for that kind of request, you should make it very clear why it is needed and why it won't be provided by your institution. For funds from other sources, this is another application module that lets you indicate what funding you're receiving from other sources of the project. So it can be confirmed or unconfirmed sources and can also be cash or in kind. So for example, it can be use of your professional development fund for expenses related to the project, another grant that's paying for portions of the research, or in kind BU resources for things like room rental. In the budget justification, you should make it clear where these additional funds will complement your request to SSHRC. And then the last section that I'll be focusing on is the research contributions and relevant experience section. So this is where they'll be looking at the expertise of the research team. So this section is something that the applicant has to provide and also that co-applicants must provide. So this is a 5-page document that includes relevant research contributions over the last 6 years. If there were any career interruptions or special circumstances, you can go a little bit beyond that 6-year period, depending on the interruption duration. So in this area, you're adding refereed contributions like publications, conferences, abstracts, can be non-refereed contributions, forthcoming contributions, things like book chapters, full books, that kind of thing, creative outputs as well. Other research contributions, including non-academic contributions. Your most significant research career research contributions. So that's up to 5 of your most significant contributions over your entire career. So this is not subject to that 6-year limit. It can be your entire career. You should describe your contributions to training. So that's a role in supervising or co-supervising students and the involvement of students in your research. In this section, you should specify any limitations in student supervision due to institutional program availability. So for example, BU does not have a PhD program, and there are some limitations as to what graduate programs are available through various departments. But you can describe that, and then also describe, just how strong the undergraduate research is at BU, and why it's appropriate to use undergraduate students for their research activities. And then finally, the last section is relevant experience. So non-academic or academic project directors can describe previous experience relevant to the topic and objectives. For your co-applicants who may not be from an academic institution, they can just focus on the relevant experience. Many of these other things might not apply to them. And then finally, there is a section to describe any career interruptions or special circumstances, which reviewers will take into account, for example, when assessing your research contributions, any interruptions in publication, record, that kind of thing. Career interruption occurs when a researcher is taken away from their research work for an extended period of time for health, administrative, family, or other reasons, also reasons related to COVID-19 pandemic. Special circumstances would involve slowdowns in research productivity or any circumstances that would impact the progression of academic careers in a distinctive way. When you are writing this, you don't need to be specific. You don't need to disclose any personal details of the interruption or the special circumstance. You just need to indicate how the research was impacted by delays, and to the best of your ability, quantify the impact on research as best as you can. So this would be to provide estimates of the time, amount of time that was the delay caused, or any opportunities that were lost due to the interruptions. So just to go back to the timing and the deadline for Partnership Engage grants, as I mentioned, there are 4 opportunities to apply to these grants. The next one being May 22nd this year, and then September 15th, December 15th, and March 15th. Our internal deadline here for the BU Research Office is at minimum 2 weeks prior to the SSHRC deadline. For most partnership grants, these are a little bit more involved grants. So for the Partnership Development Grant and the Partnership Grant, we ask for the application to be provided to our office 4 weeks prior to the SSHRC deadline. The Partnership Engage grants are a bit smaller scales, so we are fine with the 2-week internal deadline. But we encourage you to reach out to us early if you're working on a partnership grant. I'm, always happy to set up meetings and discuss the plan with people and answer any questions you have or any questions your partner might have. Just would like open communication and happy to help. So in terms of the number of grants you can apply for per year, so you can only apply as an applicant for 1 Partnership Engage grant per calendar year. So if you applied for the March one and it was not successful, but you got some good feedback and you'd like to try applying again, you would have to wait until the following calendar year, so the next March deadline, in order to apply again. And then finally, just a few tips for applying to your Partnership Engage grant. Leave yourself lots of time to apply. You're going to be working with a lot of different participants and partners. You'll need to coach them on the application process and what's needed, and you'll just have a lot of moving parts that you'll need to make sure are completed by the application deadline. plan meetings with your partner prior to the application process to make sure that you're on the same page and you have, the same ideas for what this partnership research application will look like. If you're working with an Indigenous nonprofit organization, give yourself extra time. So begin the application process at least 2 months before the application deadline. Make sure that the subject matter eligibility is aligned with SSHRC's mandate. So we had this question before we started, for a lot of researchers in health sciences, there's a lot of projects that are still within SSHRC's mandate, but if you're not sure if your plan fits the mandate, SSHRC does offer pre-review options where you can email their administrating email address with a one-page outline of the proposed research, and someone will review it and get back to you and let you know if it will fit the subject matter eligibility for SSHRC. Develop a research training plan and mentoring plan for students and other high-quality personnel, and make sure that you include students in your budget. So student support is an important part of SSHRC's mandate. So it should be clear how you are supporting students and what their role will be in the project. This last slide here is a list of links, and I won't go into this into too much detail, but there's lots of instructions for various participants of partnership engaged grants, lots of resources from SSHRC. SSHRC has a whole partnership toolkit with many resources and links. And for BU specific information, the collective agreements will give you the outline of various PSAC rates for research assistants. The BU payroll estimator will help you estimate the actual hourly rate with, vacation pay and other payroll costs associated. And then just in general, the Office of Research Services external application information page has lots of information about applying to any external grant. This presentation will be available, or is actually available. I've already uploaded it in our Moodle site. So ORS has a Moodle site with lots of resources for people to access and use as they are putting grants together. We've got a link to this specific page in general, which I think Tracy will share. And if you don't have the link, you can sign into Moodle, and under My Courses, the 00 Communications website, there's an Office of Research Services resources course, quote unquote, and under grant writing resources, there's a specific SSHRC grant writing resources folder, which has resources for lots of different SSHRC grants. The current presentation is uploaded to the SSHRC Partnership Engage Grant Resources folder. And I also will highlight this first folder here. That's just general writing tips for any SSHRC grant. There's lots of documents that were put together by the previous research officer, and there's a lot of good information in there. I recommend you check that out. You can also email me if you need a copy of this presentation, or if you have any questions, or if you'd like to set up a meeting about planning an application. So thank you for joining us, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.